And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another scene for the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. We'll be setting this scene Tellurian side in the Sept of the Green, where 10 points packmates have taken their rest for the evening. And as usual, she is sleeping outside, like the not people do. So the cabin's probably dark with them in their respective rooms and beds. And 10 Point, in her breed form, has kind of nestled in, probably just at the base of the porch, maybe tucked a wee bit under the ledge or under the stairs, but for the most part out and visible. Fairly quiet for once, because when you're laying idle, you really don't jingle much. But she's just laying there, probably on the verge of sleep, if not asleep already.
Probably Aiden will see the pack lights are off as he kind of wanders by, and he's like, oh, no. As she might hear just soft footsteps as he's kind of staring into the cabin.
Oh yeah, and she'll react, not sharply by any means, but kind of blink open her eyes and turn her head just enough to glance in the direction of this disturbance.
Yeah, you see him peering, almost like cautiously, and then like when he sees her looking at him, he kind of jumps a bit, just, oh fuck. Oh, didn't realize you were awake. Shite.
And she'll stay relatively quiet. She won't necessarily respond. There was probably just that faint little jingle because it wasn't much of a motion to turn her head. And she's just, well, looking briefly, and then her eyes drop down to about the level of his feet.
I'm assuming they've gone to sleep.
Yes, Raya.
Right. Okay. He kind of, slaps his hands together as he actually sits down. So, 10 Point.
And she'll retain her lounge, though at this point her ears have pitched and swiveled forward very attentively. It's a listening sort of pose.
He kind of just looks at her and he kind of leans forward then, trying to think of the right words to say. You got any candidates for a pack? An addition, like?
And she'll not grin, not in Krynos, but there will be like a light twitch of ear as she begins to shift, a little cautiously, pausing initially to see if he's going to tell her not to, and eventually rousing into a sit.
He doesn't say anything, he just stands there, just sits there staring.
If the alpha and beta of my pack are considering such a thing, they have not consulted me on it. It is not my place, Yuff.
It's reasonable. And if they were, well, the topic was brought up to them, how do you think they would react?
She'll mull that over for a second, very thoughtfully. A pack is only as strong as its weakest member, Yuff. So long as you are no more of a burden than I am, I think that they might consider such a conversation.
I mean, he kind of looks at her like, there is no way I'm a burden like you, that type of stare. Like he kind of looks at her. I mean, if you would put it in maybe your alpha and beta's ears, that Fiona Ragabash was looking for a pack.
Are you instructing me to do this for you, Yuff?
Mulls over the words. Instruct them. Let's say a mutual arrangement. I mean, let's be honest here. They're not going to treat you any different. They're going to try to treat you the, well, new ways, and they make a big deal of it. Whereas I'm from back home. I know how things work.
You are saying then, Yuff, that you would be generous enough to ensure that I did not raise above my station or forget the circumstances
I'm saying
by
forget
which I
the
live.
I'm saying forget the circumstances. You can raise all you want and serve Gaia and do what you do. But I'm just going to be here to make sure you don't forget it, as any honourable Fianna tribesman would do.
And she rolls that around for a second, gives a light nod, producing a soft jingle. I would be happy to do this for you, Yuff.
Grand. He kind of just mulls over the words. So, you any good with that bow then that I saw?
Of course, Yuff. I would not be allowed to keep such an item were I not of use with it.
Just mulls it over. Suppose, yeah, hi. And what is your opinion of the Sept so far from what you've seen?
And at this point, she'll narrow her eyes in a thoughtful kind of way and be daring enough to actually, like, properly look him over before promptly turning her eyes down again. It is not for me to say, Yuff. This is my first time outside of the sept I was born to. It is very different.
I think it's going to be different for all of us from coming from home. As he, mulls it over silently. As he kind of looks around and goes, they're too soft.
And again, there's a slight twitch of an ear. And if anything, she looks a bit more comfortable. The posture shifts a wee bit. She's still not setting herself up straight. She's still a bit hunched. She still knows her place, but there's a little bit more sense of ease to it.
I mean, I think even the softness is rubbing off on some of the others. Like, it's weird. He just shakes his head.
Most creatures adapt to survive, Yuff.
Mulls it over. Nods. Suppose, but we can't forget where we came from. Otherwise, what's the point?
Of course not. The question is whether you are changing or whether you are wearing camouflage and mimicking their ways so that you don't draw attention. Yuff.
He smiles. Me, I'm just regular old happy old Aiden Lynch. He grins almost wickedly, Nobody suspects the charming, smiling Irishman and what he's capable of. He just puts his hands over his back and leans back.
And if he's flopping out, she will again kind of slowly shift down to put her head back on the ground because she is not going to keep her head any higher than his.
I have to say though, your pack seems solid, but those bells just shakes his head. It's the one thing I can't get behind. Not for its purpose, I get it. It's just me, I like to creep up on people, you know?
Ah, but I am not a smiling moon, Yuff. It helps for others to evade me if they wish, and for my packmates to find me as they wish.
Oh, true. I'm just thinking in the heat of battle, near the edge. If you get hit, well, it's bad.
If I get hit, Yuff, then I am not in my proper place.
Proper place? So it's almost, waiting to see what exactly her answer is.
I do not have the strength of a proper guru, nor the coaching in fighting. Yuff, I am not meant to fight back. But I do have a bow, and I do have the spirits. If I have gotten myself on the front lines, then I have made an error.
In a way, you're correct, but everyone has to fight sometime.
It is not as though they cannot be untied, Yuff.
True. I'm just saying, it's just one thing I might disagree on, just in terms of everyone picks up and fights. That's what I was always told.
And she'll think over it briefly.
That doesn't mean I'm saying you're equal. I'm just saying when it comes down to it, fighting and dying is what we do.
Of course, Yuff. The best I can hope is that if my death comes, it is to spare another proper guru.
Nods. Aye. It's a good attitude. It's realistic. That's something generally lacking here. Be
And in the
ready.
oops, go ahead.
He goes, be ready for others to treat you nicely. For your feelings and shite. Be ready for that.
I have learned already, Yuff, that kindness is rarely genuine. The best kindness that these people can do to me is to keep me from falling to the same tainted sins that brought about my birth.
Where are your parents now then, if you don't mind me asking?
And she pauses just long enough to kind of glance at him to see if he's doing it asking to be sadistic or asking out of curiosity.
Curiosity.
Our tribe is not kind to those who break the litany, especially the first tenant, Yuff.
Aye. I know. He just nods. He's just curious, that's all.
My mother died as most Carricks do.
Yeah, I did too. Your father, I'm assuming he was, hunted down.
As far as I know, Yuff. It is hard, though, for some to remember the revelries of Beltane.
That it is. He actually smiles at her. And that's the way of it, I think, in this new city.
All that it
Anyway,
means. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, you go first. You go first. She was saying something first anyway. He'd stop, you know.
It means simply of that I am already due to pay back the lives of two proper guru.
Like, I wonder, does the other Fiona Metis think of it the same way?
I cannot know her mind, Yuff. I have barely met her.
It's just curiosity. I think she can think it can scrub off her 10 point.
I know that if she thinks herself any better than this, Yuff, then she is an influence to be avoided.
Mules it over. And what would you say to the person she's close to, the other one, the redhead, then? 10 points, since we're talking like proper Fiona here. One that is biased towards her.
I do not know their story, Yuff, and I am in no position to judge a proper guru.
You have my permission to judge. He says, smiling, like, yeah, I gotcha. You know what I mean?
She, you get the faint sense that she's very amused by his willingness to just throw around such things at a place like this. I think, Yuff, that if this one truly cared for the Metis that she is so fond of, she would be more careful rather than less to ensure that she did not forget the circumstances of her birth and the sins that made her and what she owes to Gaia as a result. A Metis must be 3 times as vigilant as a normal guru because it is the influence of the worm that brings our parents to sow us. That influence does not disappear, that taint does not disappear, and the ability to sense the worm is not so flawless as many think.
Silent for a bit, and he just nods. It's a good assessment. I was thinking the same thing. He just nods, almost like stands up. Tell your pack, well, you know, if they need a Magabash, you know. And he kind of smiles. Thank you for your time, 10 point.
You are entitled to it, yes.
Of course. He just shakes his head wearily and just strides out pretty arrogantly. You know, swaggering away.
And she will settle back in as he moves off, waiting until he's well out of earshot to go ahead and close her eyes again and settle for sleep. And with that interesting conversation done, I guess we'll say thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. And we'll see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.